Hi, everybody. So this is take like 674. I think it's working now. My computer has done every single update possible. I have reset everything I possibly can, and I'm sorry it took so long. So, no matter what color class you are, for Thursday, I see everybody. This is what you need to do. You need to have part three of the study guide completed, okay? And you need to have studied 6B Quizlet for Quizlet Live that we're going to do in the beginning of class on Thursday, all right? And then the rest of class, we're doing something a little bit different. You guys are going to listen to a podcast and answer some questions. So it should be something a bit more maybe interesting than me, or it might be completely boring to you. I think it's going to be what you make of it. All right. So we're going to do part three, IPM and organic agriculture. Okay. Some classes I've seen, some classes I haven't. I am back home. Jared has COVID. So we are all quarantined. Um, Leo and I are fine right now. Charlotte's with her mom. So we're hoping that we test negative. We got tested yesterday. So we'll see. But I'm home until the beginning of March, and I'll see you guys back in person after that. And then hopefully we'll be done with all of this stuff in my neck of the woods. All right. So we're going to talk about integrated pest management and organic agriculture. All right. So IPM is integrated pest management, and it's a systems based approach. So it's not just calendar spraying of pesticides. And what calendar spraying means is like every Tuesday you spray the crap out of everything, no matter whether it needs it or not. It's just kind of okay, you're supposed to eat in the morning, the noon, and at night, no matter what it is that if you're hungry or not, it's kind of just what we do. And that's not, farming isn't one size fits all. So integrated pest management is a combination of pest control methods that keep pest populations low without this economic loss. Right. So conventional pesticides are used sparingly when kind of the other things that you're doing fail. Here are different techniques with integrated pest management. IPM, biocontrol, population monitoring, habitat alteration, crop rotation, and GMO crops. We're going to do a whole part four is all on GMO crops and CAFOs, so feedlots and stuff like that, and meat processing. Alternative tillage methods, which you guys learned about in the soils unit 6A, mechanical pest removal, chemicals when necessary. So here, kind of going through those. Pheromones and hormones. You can use pheromones to lure pests into traps. So in New Jersey in the summer, we get beetles, Japanese beetles. They're these like green iridescent looking beetles, and you get these traps and they look like socks. And you get a male trap and you get a female trap. And one has the female pheromone that attracts the male, one has the male pheromone that attracts the females, or maybe it's just the female pheromone that attracts the males, and then there are no more males to fertilize the females, and they eventually die off. So those go into the trap, and in the bottom there's like a pesticide. They fall into like a little pool of, you know, liquid goo, and they die. Um, Reproductive controls are sterilizing some members of the population. So typically, if you sterilize males, then they can't fertilize females, etc. And that can be done through different types of UV rays of light. Sometimes can sterilize certain populations, not UV, but different wavelengths of lights. If I seem spaced during this, it's because I am, because there are a million things going on right now. And then my dad is out of the ICU. He was very sick on Monday night. Huge, massive kidney stone. He went septic, and he's good now. He's on a regular floor, so he just texted. That's why I was like, oh. So genetic controls. You have genetically modified plants, GMOs. We're going to go over in the next unit, okay? But there can be other issues with these. They can affect other species like butterflies. Quarantine. So we're all so familiar with that right now. This is basically if you're going to buy like a bunch of bananas from, I don't know, Mexico, maybe not a good example. Let's go with Philippines. All right. And they come into a warehouse. Those bananas need to sit in the warehouse for 2 weeks before they can go anyplace else, to make sure that there is no it's not harboring any pests. And the goal is, the idea is like within those 2 weeks, if there were something in it, it would grow and it would be visible. Okay. And so quarantine is relatively effective, but it's not foolproof. Using cultivation methods to control pests, you interplant mixes of plants, polyculture, instead of having those big monocultures. You have different rows of different crops. Proper timing of planting, fertilizing, and irrigation will make your plants stronger, okay, and more resistant to pests. It basically like kind of like boosting your own immune system. And then crop rotation. So let's say you have zucchini growing here one year, or maybe here. We're going to have them growing here one year. The next year, you plant the zucchini over here, because zucchini are notorious for getting stem borers, and those stem borer eggs will be in the soil. So if you plant zucchini there the following year, those little baby stem borers will hatch out of the soil and be like, "Yay, zucchini!" But if they come out and they're like, "Yeah, oh, corn, we don't eat corn," then they'll either die because they don't have anything to eat, or they will go off trying to find it. But you kind of like can run around if you have a big enough area, and you can grow zucchini far away from where you did the year before. All right. The big issue, biological control is the use of naturally occurring disease organisms, parasites, or predators to control pests. Remember how we saw in that lemon grove, they sprayed DDT, and the natural predators of those red scale bugs were killed, and then the red scale went out of control. When you blanket spray, when you spray these broad spectrum pesticides, what happens is you're killing all the natural predators. You're killing ladybugs, you're killing spiders, you're killing springtails, all sorts of insects that are really good, that are going to eat the bugs that are eating your crops. Okay, so every single year, I go to Molzon's nursery and I get a container of ladybugs, and it's a little mesh bag, and they have like a cooler or a mini fridge, and they give me a bag, charge me like $9, and I cut a hole in the bag and I put it in my garden. And ladybugs are really voracious predators, especially the larval forms. The issue is these biological control agents can become pests themselves. So they may have like non-target effects on the environment. And you think about those invasive species, they don't have natural predators, and so their populations can grow out of control. So any sort of introduced species that aren't native to that area, I can throw ladybugs in my garden. They are naturally occurring all over New Jersey. And what happens is there's a breeder that's breeding native New Jersey ladybugs. Okay. So you're not putting something from, some other country, not country, but some other, biome that's going to then explode. If you want to watch a really terrible but so amazing of a movie, what you guys can do is watch Cane Toads: An Unnatural History, and it is the worst best movie you will ever. So Cane Toads: An Unnatural History, you can find it on YouTube. It's a mockumentary. It was made maybe in the 80s, I don't know, or in the 70s. Maybe I'll link it because it's so good. Bad. All right. You can irradiate your food. Harvested food is exposed to ionizing radiation. It kills a lot of microorganisms. We use this on a lot of our meats. And you can see here, within 4 years of using integrated pest management in Indonesia, they reduced their pesticide use dramatically, and their crops kept increasing. And that way they could phase out $179 million worth of subsidies that was going to these farmers. So sustainable agriculture is where you have less intensive agriculture. So you're not polluting, you're not depleting the soil. You're making sure that you maintain the environmental integrity, because if you have good soil, that's going to give you good produce. If you have crappy soil, you're not going to be able to grow as much out of it. And you're going to have to put a lot into it, which is going to cost you money. Low input agriculture is the opposite of high input agriculture. You're not putting a lot of it in. And the stuff that you are putting in, it's in smaller doses when you have to. Organic agriculture doesn't use any synthetic fertilizers, insecticides, fungicides, or herbicides. So if you only eat organic, you know that you're not getting chemical pesticides into your body from that source. Okay. So it relies on more biological approaches like composting, biocontrol, literally going out and weeding. So in 1990, the Organic Food Production Act established national standards for organic products. There was nothing before that. And then in 2000, the USDA actually issued criteria for which food could be labeled organic. And that's when the green USDA organic label was created. All right. And then some states have stricter guidelines for labeling as well. The market for organic food is increasing. And these are just numbers of what the demand actually is. And I feel like living in Marlboro and having a Whole Foods right there, you guys are pretty aware of kind of organic food. I feel like it's not a buzzword anymore. It's integrated into all of our vocabulary. So we have organic food, which is raising it the way that it should be done, kind of all natural, old school. And then you have conventional, which is the total like bastardized version that we've come to over the, because of that green revolution. So for organic farming, there are lower input costs, enhanced income because organic food is more expensive. But the big thing is that there's a big cost of switching to organic farming. Okay. So for consumers, it's, you eat organic probably because you're worried about, health. Like we won't eat strawberries or grapes or blueberries that aren't organic. Like I just refuse to buy them because every single year the Environmental Working Group puts out a list called the Deadly Dozen and then the Clean 15. And those are about the ones that 15 foods that you don't necessarily need to eat organic and they're going to be fine for you, and 12 foods that you most definitely should, if you're going, like, they're going to give you the bang for your buck. Okay. So I'm probably going to post cane toads and I'll post the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15. All right. So the US doesn't support organic farmers. We have this huge farm bill. There are so many farm subsidies. Millions, if not billions of dollars go to just plain old corn subsidy in the US, and no money goes to organic farming. In 1993, okay, in 1990, the US was like, all right, we should do something organic. And then in 2000, they were like, all right, here's our organic stuff. In 1993, the EU, the European Union, adopted a policy to support farmers financially during conversion to organic farming. Nothing like that happens here, okay? Because what happens is in the US, in order to be considered USDA organic, you need to be producing organic produce for 3 years. In those 3 years, you cannot have a USDA organic label. So you are putting in the extra time, money, etc., and instead of getting more money for your product, you're getting the same amount than you would, and you're putting out so much extra money, especially during these 3 years of conversion time. And the US doesn't offer any support for that. So the only incentive for farms to go organic is knowing in the long run it's going to be more profitable and it's going to be better for the environment and it's going to be sustainable. So if you're looking out for your future, it's like, all right, so I'm looking for a career and I'm looking for something that is going to provide me with financial support for the rest of my life with a retirement plan and everything. For that, I'm not going to get, a job. I don't know, like an independent job walking around to people's houses shoveling snow, especially not in Jersey. Okay. So the thing is that it's hard to go organic. And the only reason why people do it is because they know it's the long term, but and a lot of times they have to get backers to do it. Costco is an amazing company in that they will partner with farms and they will support them during their 3-year transition. And then what happens is that farm basically kind of partners with Costco. And that farm not only has the support through that 3-year transition, but usually there's a like a contract for a certain amount of years that they are going to almost solely sell to Costco for whatever it is that they need. Okay, so there used to be a brand of organic strawberry jam at Costco. And then what happened was they stopped offering it for a while, and we were like, what is happening here? Or it wasn't organic. It was just regular strawberry jam. I don't know, I could be going crazy. And then it disappeared for a while, and when it came back, it had the Kirkland brand for Costco, and now it was organic. And I looked into it, and they were one of the strawberry farms. Costco almost bought out, but like kind of supported them, and they became a co-op. And then all of their strawberry jam is now Costco's. All right. So then there's CSA, community supported agriculture. So basically, consumers pay farmers in advance for a share of their yield. So if you have like a whole box or a half a box CSA, if anybody knows anything about that, um, you pay, let's say, $700 to a farmer now, and then they use that money to grow all of their crops over the growing season. And every single week, or maybe every other week, you pick up a box of produce from that farm, and you don't pay anything for it because you paid that $700 now. Okay. In addition, farmers markets are growing, they're becoming more popular. And then what you have is you also have, hold on, baby, you got to hold on. With farmers markets, it's not organic, okay, unless it says USDA organic. But the thing is with a CSA, with a farmer's market, you actually talk to the farmer, you know where it's coming from, and you can ask them, hey, what type of pesticides, fertilizers, etc. are you using? The great thing about farmers markets is that it's local. So all of that energy isn't being used to actually get the produce to market. Okay, farmers market is not organic, it's just local. And the thing about it being local is you're stimulating the local economy, and you don't have all those fossil fuels used to get all of it to market. Okay. So sorry, that was kind of long-winded, but you guys are the best and you're doing really well. And this is amazing. And this is the beginning of the third marking period. And we all have clean slates, and virus numbers are down. And if you have had no hope through all of this, there is so much reason to hope right now. So, New Jersey has gone from exceptionally high risk to very high risk. So instead of being purple, we're now red in Monmouth County. And so hopefully next week we'll go down to maybe orange. And there is definitely an end in sight. Okay. So hang in there, clean slates, and you guys are awesome and amazing.